The Boston Celtics were named after a team that folded before their owner ever stepped into an arena. Walter Brown had never watched a professional basketball game in his life when he founded the franchise in 1946. He ran Boston Garden, the arena, and needed a basketball tenant to fill empty winter dates. The Basketball Association of America was forming that summer, a rival to the National Basketball League, which was older, Midwest-based, and full of industrial teams nobody outside Ohio cared about. The BAA wanted big city arenas, and Brown's Boston Garden was one of the best venues on the East Coast. Brown bought in, not because he loved basketball, but because he loved keeping his building full. He needed a name. Boston already had the Bruins, the Red Sox, the Braves. Brown's PR man, Howie McHugh, suggested Celtics, after a team from the 1920s that played in the original American Basketball League. That league folded in 1931. The team folded with it. Brown had never seen them play. McHugh had never seen them play. They liked it because it sounded Irish, and Boston was an Irish city. The original Celtics had been a New York team. Brown didn't care. The name had history, even if he didn't know the history. Other suggestions included the Whirlwinds, the Olympians, and the Unicorns. Brown went with Celtics. The Basketball Association of America approved it without question. The first season was a disaster. The Celtics went 22-38. Attendance averaged under 4,000 people per game in an arena that held 13,909. Brown lost money. The league lost money. 4 teams folded after that first year: the Cleveland Rebels, Detroit Falcons, Pittsburgh Ironmen, Toronto Huskies. Boston survived, barely, because Brown owned the building and could absorb the losses. The second season was worse. The Celtics went 20-28. Then, in 1949, the BAA absorbed the National Basketball League and renamed itself the NBA. The Celtics were suddenly part of a 17-team league, most of which would also fold within 5 years. Boston kept losing. Brown kept paying. Then he hired Red Auerbach. Auerbach was 32 years old, arrogant, and had just been fired by the Tri-Cities Blackhawks. He took over in 1950 and immediately installed a fast break offense. The Celtics would run, not grind. They made the playoffs that year. They'd missed the playoffs only once in the next 21 seasons. The turning point came in 1956 when Auerbach drafted Bill Russell. Russell had led the University of San Francisco to 2 national championships. He was a defensive genius, the first player to treat shot blocking as an offensive weapon. The Celtics won the championship that first year. Then they won it again. And again. Between 1957 and 1969, Boston won 11 NBA titles. 8 of them were consecutive. Walter Brown didn't live to see the dynasty mature. He died in 1964, at 59, still running Boston Garden. But he'd turned a losing investment into the most successful franchise in basketball. All because he borrowed the name of a team he'd never watched, from a league that had died 15 years before he needed a name. Next time, we head north to the NHL, where a franchise was born in a boardroom argument and nearly died in its first winter.